Morning, Benita. How are you? Hi, Shelley. So this morning I'm going to be joined by Ravneet of Neat Nutrition, and she's a food behavior coach that doesn't believe in the whole, fad diets and excessive aggressive exercising. She's so lovely, and she's here to help mums kind of get kind of a hold over their food behaviors and the way in which they basically deal with food. This is a topic very close to my heart because I managed to lose quite a bit of weight 2 years ago, and I just slip into old habits quite quickly, and understanding those isn't always easy, especially when you've got so much going on in your day-to-day life. So I'm really excited to welcome Rav. Hi, Cam. How are you? Hi, how are you, Rav? You okay?
Yes, I made more effort today than I do for date night, I think.
Can you believe the boys got out of bed so late this morning? I was like, move. Arjun still sleeps in our room. I was like, come on, Arjun, get up. I need to. No, no, no. He's been sleeping really late, so I don't feel bad.
Mine was trying to sleep at 10 last night.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's like normal in this house. Honestly, I've just given up.
I'm like a tiger mum. I'm like, you need to go to sleep. Mummy and daddy need to hang out or talk or clean.
Yeah, no, it's true. Fine though, for me, when I stay up too late, we eat dinner at about 5:30. So that's quite early, right? The later we stay up, it's like, oh my God, I need to have a meal. And then it's the bedtime and it's like, oh, this is not good.
Yeah, the body doesn't want to digest at night time. The body wants to go into like sleep and recovery, and it's kind of like, why have you put me to work? But we will do it. Even I do it. So it doesn't matter if we know. Thank you so much, Harps, for having me and and sharing your network with me. I really appreciate it. And a great introduction. You hit the nail on the head. You're probably better at saying that than I am.
Yeah, tell us a little bit more about yourself, Rav, because I've given a nutshell version, but if you can tell us a bit more about what you do.
So I am 38. I'm a mum of two. I have had my equal share of weight struggles, noticeably after my two children. But then in the last year and a half, I realized it was going back much further than that. So I must have had what I describe as disordered eating from like teenage years. And I think when I talk to a lot of my clients, they've had this from when they were teenagers, like really young, and we can't pinpoint when it started, but
Yeah.
there's a number of reasons why each of us develop a kind of body dysmorphia or unhealthy eating habits. Notably, though, I had postnatal depression after, I think, in hindsight, both my children, but it was, I sought therapy after the second one. So that
Yeah.
was really important for me because it set me up on this whole journey of understanding the reasons behind my eating issues, what is going on with me in my mumhood and life, the perfectionism, my identity. And so that's a lot of what I touch on with my clients. And my brother-in-law, who was really unwell for 5 years, prompted the family to look more into, nutrition and health. And I just bit the bullet at the start of last year, so January 2019, listening to a live by Law of Attraction live. And there was just something that Tiberius, who runs the page, said. And I was like, why do I keep saying I haven't got time to do this or I haven't got time to do that, where I'm busting my ass, working out 5 times a week, trying to like modify my meals just so that I can look a certain way. And I was like, no, I'm going to do some studying into this now. It's like years of obsession could become something more profound. And then last year I started my journey in qualifying, and that's when I opened my page in June, just to take people on the kind of experience with me while I was doing my diploma and just being a real mum, juggling things and sharing the struggles. And it's just changed my life. Like I would never, like, I could never go back, obviously, like it's changed my life. The reason I want to work specifically with women after their children and baby journeys and busy mums is because it's the journey that I can resonate with most.
Yeah.
And I think we as Asian women go through such a turbulent time after having children. It's really difficult. And we are challenged by our own beliefs, society beliefs, the media and, everything. So I love to work with postnatal women, women that are, or even women with children similar age to mine, 7 and 4, sorry, God, going on to 15. And because for me, you can only give as much as you give yourself. So you can't give from an empty cup. And I think having children, we end up adding so many more stresses to ourselves. Like you and me probably feel so guilty about what time we went to bed.
Yeah.
So we have to learn to like mitigate so much of that anxiety and stress. And that's what I help with. So it's not just food. We look at the whole holistic package of our well-being, mental, physical, food, habits. So less is more. I'm a very gentle approach person. But thank God I've proved it time and time again. By 5 to 6 weeks, my mums are seeing such a huge difference. And it's the feeling. It's not a number. It's that kind of association we have with the scale and how much we weigh goes to the wayside. And it's a feeling of empowerment and choices. So that is it in a nutshell. It's quite a big nutshell.
No, it sounds really good, because I remember after I had Arjun, literally, I don't even know if I had cravings during that pregnancy or if I was using it as an excuse to eat what I wanted. I'm a big foodie. I love eating. And after I had him, I continued to eat like that. And I got a stone after Arjun. So I'd put on, as in through the pregnancy, and then after I'd put on about 4 stone. And it wasn't even about the weight. I mean, that was obviously a factor for me, but it was also about, I've got hypertension, I've high blood pressure since I was 20. So it's also the health risk, increasing weight can lead to loads of other things. So for me, it was just, I'm not an exercise kind of girl either. I'm just not that girl. I mean, I'm cool with that. So for me, I knew it needed to be more than just, obviously move around, but also what am I putting in my body. I managed to do it really well 2 years ago. Just balance. Everything was balanced. I didn't stop from anything. It was just eating right amount. Eating more of the good stuff. But now, so at the beginning of lockdown, I was doing really well. I was just like, I've got this. I'm really thinking before I'm eating. Oh my gosh, it's completely gone out the window. And it's like, stop. Why don't they just stop? Like, what is going on? So why do you think that this whole COVID lockdown thing is making people crave more food? Because I'm not the only one. I'm seeing it on everybody's pages.
Yes. So I call it COVID cravings. And I think about a few weeks back, I did a COVID cravings resources pack for women, and it had such a high response. And in that email, I explained that at a time where our security is questioned. Oh,
hold on, there's an echo in my line. Is it still happening? Oh no, why is it happening? Hello, can you guys hear me now properly? Is it still echoing? I'm not sure.
It's a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Okay, it's okay now, yeah? Okay, sorry, Rav. I just kind of froze for a bit.
This happened to me with Dr. Ravi. Yeah, COVID cravings, I call them. So any time in our lives, a situation like this is no different to if you've had another major transition, a passing, a bereavement, any kind of job change. When our usual comfort zone is under question, we as humans get what we call scarcity mindset. And Rupinder touched on this in the Asian Women Means Business live chat with her group. So with COVID cravings, it's really specific because we've had our kind of a choice taken away from us. And as humans, we like choice. So then what happens is we're in our home, which is our place of comfort, and you're around all the foods you would not normally be accessing all the time. You'd be at work or you'd be in and out of your home. And when you're feeling a discomfort and your choices are taken away from you, and you think, like we did at the beginning, we're not going to be able to get our supplies. You and me both know the first thing we're going to do is, I'm going to eat all the dairy milk. I want everything. And it's just, that is us as humans from a psychological standpoint. It's not because somebody is lazy or lacks motivation or they're greedy. Everybody has gone through some kind of symptom as a result of this lockdown. It's probably one of the few times the only time we'll experience this in our lives, depending on how long this now goes on. But this will happen if, for example, you move to another country, or you go any huge transition where you're out of your comfort zone, out of your norm, you will manifest in food. So we have to remember that anything else in your life, Harps, that doesn't suit you, block, 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 cut, cut, cut. Like, it's easy, right? But we need food to live. And go on.
It actually feels like at the moment, I mean, aside from work, managing the boys and, managing the house, literally, it's like, what else is there to think about? The most exciting thing of the day is
food. And I don't know about you, like in my house, it's mainly myself and my mother-in-law next door that does the cooking. So for me, it's like either I've got to make it, or I'm just going to grab a bag and eat it. Psychologically.
I'm actually, actually on this tour, I'm actually really missing both the mums and their cooking. It's nice because it would be kind of broken up, when we could visit them. So I'm really missing that as well, just having to,
and that longing.
Yeah.
When and comfort eating, it gets a really bad rap, but it's actually, for some people, it's a resource, a tool to comfort eat through a bad time. It's when it becomes more sustained and becomes a habit, because we are creatures of habit. Like you said, it's really easy for you when you've lost that weight to go back to old habits, and that's normal. It's a really normal thing. What people don't tell you, so the diet and food industry are just out to get us. They want to make money from us. They love trapping us in this way. What they don't tell us is it's our habits that we need to adjust. Oh no, are we echoing again?
We're echoing. I don't know. We're not doing anything different.
No, I hear you perfectly.
I wonder what's going on.
It's me. It's something to do with my phone. It happened to me in Dr. Ravi as well.
Oh, did it? I've not had it before. Are you on Wi-Fi or?
I came off Wi-Fi because I thought that might have been the issue. Should I go back on?
Wow, I'm not sure. Can you guys still not hear us properly?
Yeah, let us know with a thumbs down if there's an echo. And boom.
Playing up today, but go on. Yeah, go on, Ravi. So it was rough.
Yeah, okay, you should call me Ravi. So what I was saying is, the diet and the food industry, they want us to feel trapped in this way. So when you're checking out your online baskets, they obviously drop little things on flash sales, drop in the M&M pack, supersize.
That is designed for me. It's literally me. It's literally...
Right, let's cut it off and come back in, because that's what I did with Dr. Ravi that day, and it did make it a little bit better.
I'll have to end the live and then come back on. Is that right, guys? Yeah. I'll be back. Hi, sorry about that.
It's okay.
None.
It's happened to me twice, so I'm thinking it's me, so I've gone on hands-free. Okay, now we want a thumbs up if it's okay, or a thumbs down if it's not okay.
Yeah, okay, good. Thank you.
We'll wait for a consistent 3 thumbs up before we go anywhere. I think it's me.
Okay.
It's not you, Hobbs, it's me. The ultimate breakup line.
Yeah, I'm definitely that person because I do online shopping, and the other day I actually did an Iceland shop because I couldn't get a slot anywhere else, and I thought, ice creams, and because it's so cheap as well. Oh my God. And when you're doing online shopping, you almost don't realize how much you're buying because you can't physically see it.
Yep.
The amount of chocolate, oh my God, it was really bad. And then I'm where I'm like, I need to eat it all because it needs to go.
Yeah.
So then I better quickly eat it now, and then it's done, and it's
or it will hover over you. I've got those Haagen-Dazs in the freezer. I'm waiting for the opportunity to eat those. Like I've got them, and I then psychologically. So I talk a lot about physiological versus psychological hunger. If I know it's there, psychologically, I'll convince myself I'm hungry. And it's like we
Yeah.
saw at your tea event, right? You're the psychologist talking about closing our eyes and visualizing the lemon. You can salivate
Yeah.
at the thought of and the knowledge of it being there. Um,
Yeah.
and I think what the other thing that the diet and the food industry do is they make it seem as if it's going to be really hard and a lot of work to try and get your healthy habits. It's all or nothing, and we come from a community which is a little bit all or nothing anyway, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you have to do the 5 workouts, you have to do, the protein, veg, all perfectly proportioned.
Yeah.
But for me, and I know for you, Hearts, as a mum, when are we going to do that? Like, it's not feasible that we're going to go and meal prep and carry around Tupperware in our butterware, you know what I mean? So that's why I go with the approach that I prepare people. I say it takes longer, as in we do less is more. I will take you on a slow and more sustained journey, but we're going to look at your habits. So without me, so once I've gone, you'll never need me again, because you would have put into practice certain behaviors that feel good to you, empower you, and they're not asking you to juggle 5 different things and spin all the plates, the workout, the meals. But another thing that people, I think, sometimes don't realize is our behaviors stem from childhood. They're very much ingrained in us from childhood, the way our relationships function and how we eat, meal times. And I talk through this with my clients about, what meal times like as a child. And like, I don't know about you, but we were not allowed to throw away food. We ate what was given to us. So there's a thing called the vending machine diet or the cafeteria diet. And what you just said about being in Iceland and having the choice, as humans, in the experiments, allowed into a room with a vending machine to eat what you wanted, 173% additional calorie intake people have.
Yeah,
out of choice.
Yeah, really believe that. That is me.
So yeah, you're not alone. So many people are in this boat with us.
Yeah, no, it makes complete sense. Like it's true. If it's there, you're gonna it's planted the seed, and it's like, I need that, I need that, I need that. And I did it last night with a crunchy ice cream. I was like, I've got a really bad headache, and I think I need an ice cream. And obviously, the ice cream was no impact on my headache. But I just, when I thought, why did you do that? You weren't even hungry. You didn't need to. But then I thought, it's okay. Just go to sleep.
Good. And the other thing. Oh, it's so distracting seeing yourself. So the other thing, is it's awareness. Because our habits are formed over such a long time, we do things in autopilot we don't realize we're doing. So I pick my lips. I have to get nerves, start biting my lips.
Yeah.
You just, and my husband will be like, what's going on? What are you thinking about? Like, nothing. And then I do this funny thing where I like hold my breath all the time. And these things are like happening all the time. Like we breathe, we live without a single mind's thought, right? And that's the thing with the women I work with. We have to create a habit that is as easy as breathing. It has to be like practiced to the point where you don't need a plan, a diet, or anyone to prompt you. It becomes a part of your life. That leads me on to how important our identity is as women. We grow up in a community which is, in my case, kind of has an idea of what we should be, how we should behave. Like there might be some examples when you were growing up on how harps will behave. Does she learn how to cook? Did you take the tray to the chapani for the guests?
Yeah. You know what? I grew up in quite a different household, actually. I mean,
I like this.
Yeah, we were like my mum and dad never forced us to finish what was on our plate. They always taught us don't overeat. But what they did teach us is don't pile food onto your plate.
Yeah.
Just take a little bit, and then if you want more, go back for seconds. But don't, they didn't encourage us to waste, but they also didn't encourage us to overeat.
Yeah.
I did that all by myself.
No, I think you're a minority in that sense, but then it made me think, right? It challenged my thinking around some people that had parents that encouraged those healthy habits. And I think this comes back down to choice, Harps, because I think what we eat now has changed so significantly. When we were younger, We didn't
Yeah.
have this we didn't have the choices of this yummy processed, ultra processed food.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
these foods, people think it's just them, but they trigger a sensory overdrive. It's equivalent to having an addiction because they give us such a high and that euphoria and that great feeling. So
Yeah.
it's not because you or me aren't disciplined or the person that I trained is greedy. It's the fact that our environment shapes our outcomes. So I say to people when they come over, I'm like, there's literally Barney. Like, I don't keep, I now have brought cordial because we're in lockdown. I think the boys would like a little glass here and there when we're out in the garden. But we have no fizzy drinks. We're not a family of fizzy drinkers. We can go next door to my mother-in-law's where I will do exactly what you described. I'll eat the crunchy ice cream. I'll go into
Yeah.
the crisp packets. My sister-in-laws will vouch for me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like a kid in a candy store next door. So then now I have to be mindful that there are trigger points for me. Rav, control yourself. I'm no
Yeah.
different to any other woman. Like I still have the same kind of temptations. I just keep myself away from temptation more, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
limit it a little bit more. And one thing I like when I lost weight back then, one of the really good things that I was doing was that I could even go to a wedding, and I love wedding food. I love all that juicy stuff. I could go to a wedding and be so disciplined in that, right, you can have half your plate covered in salad and then take a bit of the paneer, take a bit of, everything. My plate was so balanced that it worked. But now I'm just like, oh, I can't really be bothered to eat the salad, so I might just skip it. And it really does make a massive difference to my mood, um,
Yeah,
to my weight, to just generally like how I digest my food. It just makes such
yeah,
a massive difference to my overall well-being. And that's why for me, it's so important. Like I want to feel good as well as
yeah,
I think our perception, this whole weight thing for me, so I managed to lose enough weight to get back into my wedding outfit, which I never thought was possible, right? So that was a massive thing for me. But even when I put that wedding outfit on, I didn't look exactly the same as I did on my wedding day. I'm a
yeah,
mum, had two children, I'm older now, it's different, my body shape's completely different. And it was that moment looking at my reflection that I realized this whole obsession with the scales and getting back to a
yeah.
certain weight, it's a moving goalpost. There's no point because
Yes,
you're never gonna look. You're always gonna want more. So it's
yeah,
kind of finding peace within yourself.
yeah,
Like now, I've probably put on about 4 kg since back then, right? Which is about a third of the total weight that I lost. And I think I spent like a year obsessing over it, thinking,
yeah,
oh my God, oh my God, oh my gosh, I need to lose this weight. And when I stopped, it was one of my friends, Jessie, actually, 'cause she goes on the same journey as me. And she said to me, she said, Pops, we spent a year obsessing over basically 3 or 4 kg. The
yeah,
amount of mental energy that has gone into this whole, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I
yeah.
mean, if you look at perspective, really, like, is it, chill out. Be
Yeah,
kind to accept that sometimes you're going to gain a little bit and sometimes you'll lose a bit. And it's about making the right choices and like you say, identifying the trigger points. I know what
yeah,
my triggers are, exactly the same. My mother-in-law, my mum, that they are, amazing cooks. They're feeders. You go to their house and it's like, what can I eat? What can I eat? What can I eat? And it's almost like
yeah,
I need enough to get my fix and to make the
yeah.
most of kind of this opportunity. But I do it in all situations. So I'll be like, one more slice of pizza because
Yeah.
tomorrow that pizza's not going to be there.
Yes, yes. It's not going to taste the same if I have it
No.
reheated or whatever. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
I get with the women in my coaching will sometimes leave me a voice note. I'm like, Rav, I have to share this with you. Like I was in the bath and I was shaving or I was doing something. I was like, why am I pulling, tugging and trying to change my body all the time? Like, what am I doing to you, trying to perfect you, whether it's shaving, bleaching, whatever it is? And she's like, it's a specific person. She was like, it just hit me like I am not what I look like in my physical exterior. And like, they have these epiphanies and like, I literally get goosebumps and it makes me so happy because I'm like, no, we as physical beings are constantly changing our skin, our organs, our calcium, our skeletal bones. And we're not fixed. And we treat ourselves as if, oh my God, now if I put on the weight, I'm a fixed person, I'm stuck at that size, how am I going to get rid of this problem? And we're so harsh in how we talk to ourselves. And I think that might be a Punjabi thing as well.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And so in my coaching, my clients never feel like, one of my clients last week said, I didn't have to feel worried to tell you the truth about my week because I know you're not going to judge me. I know I can tell you anything and you will reassure me, and it's a safe space. And I think that's important. If we talk about our crisp binges to somebody, like our friends, maybe they were like, oh my God, we've got to stop that. How are we going to stop that? Or they'll think about having an alternative, or, you know, we talk about diets in girl circles so much, whereas I'm like, no, you had a moment. That's one moment. It doesn't make you greedy. You know, at that moment, I wanted to eat the bag of crisps. At that moment, it felt great. It doesn't mean that every moment I have those crisps, I'll do that, except with the cheese and jalapeno, I do.
Oh my God, so good with, they're my favorite.
I need to make a fresh salsa with that, because I think a nice like tomato salsa would be so good with those.
Yeah.
So then I just buy them less frequently, or I share them. So yeah, shared calories, it's all good. So what I do is I focus on people's habits and behaviors for the significant part of the first 4 weeks. And then I do what I call gentle nutrition. So we do learn about macros and what's good, you know, fruits, vegetables, but there's never a need for you to change the way you eat. It's just learning what your body needs. So you can still eat the exact same foods. You want the pizza, the samosa, the pakora. Like people on my posts see, I eat a really varied diet. It took me years to reintroduce those foods because I have what I think was described in this book, orthorexia, which is this pursuit of healthy eating. So I was really small after my first son. I'd lost the weight, but I was miserable. I didn't want to eat cheese, paneer, white rice. Like, who doesn't want to eat John? Yeah. There's like a journey to becoming too obsessed with clean eating as well. So undoing that has been so liberating, because now I love my chitte John. Like, I just like, and white bread, bagels. Like, why would we do this to ourselves? Because we think in our minds the stigmas attached to certain foods are bad and good. So me and Sharon, Nutrition and You, really work hard on saying there's no good and bad food. It's about an overall, like you were saying, like having an overall balance and mix.
And it's interesting. So when I lost all that weight, I mean, I half-heartedly did Slimming World when I lost my weight, which I've shared with everyone. And I did it from home, so I never did it properly. But like you, I had this fear of jol, of rice, of potatoes. I thought, no, carbs bad, carbs bad, carbs bad. I ate so many potatoes while I lost weight, and actually it's because it's natural, it's grown, it's fine. Like, you know, my body processed it really well. Rice, I eat rice, and I'm fine to eat rice. Like I said, my plates were just balanced, so making sure I had the salad and the fiber and everything with it, and it worked well, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed eating. I didn't feel bad. And I think
that full feeling.
Yeah, I had this same obsession with no, I'm not eating a jacket potato. No, that's so unhealthy. That's so unhealthy. Oh my gosh, no, it's not. It's just about, well, probably the toppings you put on top, you could probably argue, but so I totally hear you on that. The whole, and I don't know where these things come from, you know, like
because there's fad diets everywhere, and when people are trying to lose weight, they're at their most vulnerable, right? You feel really low. It's a non-clinical version of depression. It's low self-esteem. Every day you are in this body and you're upset, you know, or angry that you're not losing weight or that you're putting on weight. And then you go on Google, right? Or Instagram or Facebook, and at your most vulnerable, you've got people spewing things at you with those beautiful, perfectly laid out grids of these meals. Again, all or nothing, you know, perfect mentality. And you can't sustain that kind of eating. So we then think that those foods are associated with good health, and that carbs are demonized. For years, carbs were demonized. Like, I always hashtag carbs are my friend. Like, they are my friend. The other thing is like this, right? Atomic Habits, one of my favorite books, because when people go for the plate of rice and forget to put the salad on, it's because of our mind skipping to the easiest thing. If you have to cut and prep a salad, it feels like a harder thing to do. dressing, even if it's just cutting an iceberg, it is a job versus something that's already made in your safria, like you've got your rajma, you've got your jawal, it's done. Okay, I might as well just pour that and go. So the brain always wants to do the thing of least resistance, like the path that's easiest to you. So if it's a Snickers bar, the ice cream, and you've got a tiny, psychologically you've told yourself you're hungry, you'll go for the easiest thing, and those are usually the pre-packaged processed things. The other thing is our identities. As women, we find it a lot easier to put ourselves down if we don't look like what social media is portraying is the woman's body, right? So we have kids. We're now gone from being married, being a daughter-in-law, having all these other responsibilities into now becoming a mother. But I felt like I was a child, parenting a child, because I just never felt like I had that level of independence. And this is where I say we have to draw boundaries. And it's not always about saying no, it's about saying yes to myself. So, for example, I'll say yes to me spending time with my child and feeding my child, and not always getting, the elders that kind of step in to help, and finding a sense of confidence in yourself and your capabilities as a woman, as a mother. It's really important. So like with you, Hops, you probably agree, you make all the most lovely, delicious meal for your children, right?
Not always, yeah, but yeah.
But we try, right? And you've seen me, I give pizzas to my kids. We have oven food, packets of crisps. But often, at the back of our mind, it's always there. I want to give the boys some salad, some veg sticks. Right?
I want their plate to look colourful, and it doesn't always look colourful. Sometimes it looks like different shades of beige.
I'm going to do a special with Seek Forgiveness about kids and their love for beige food. But what we're doing is our values as a mum for our child in caregiving are so high that we'll do that for them. When it comes to ourselves, we don't. And there's a point where we have to stop and say, I'm not just a mother. I don't just identify as being a mother, but I identify as being a role model, potentially a strong woman that makes empowered choices. And then what would that woman do? She would have the salad potentially, or she would just listen to her body, because this isn't about shaming people, definitely not with people that have underlying health conditions or people that are bigger, because our health outcomes aren't always driven by size, because you're not big. You've had hypertension since 20.
Yeah, since I was...
That wouldn't,
when I was younger, so
there's a lot to do with stress and other factors, and I think we've got to be really clear when we are talking about going on this journey, that with the women that I work with, I'm like, you have to put your size to the back of the back of the agenda. We have to really think about your relationship with yourself and your body and who you are. So for example, I'm a Sikh woman. I've been raised in a Sikh family. My dad wears a Kenyan style bug. My husband wears a bug, but he trims his beard. I cut my hair, but yet we identify as being Sikh. So some people will be like, no, she didn't, right? But my boys have got their long hair. And it's really important that I raise my sons to have self-confidence, self-esteem, because I want them to make decisions around their Sikhi of their own accord and not through external influence. Equally, I wouldn't say I wasn't Sikh because I cut my hair, because if I want to identify as a Sikh woman, I will identify as a Sikh woman, if that makes sense, because everyone has a different way of practicing. And this is what I love about Janveer and Delhi Mum and the Sikh coach, because he talks a lot about the kind of the values, right? So I talk a lot about values, and you can still relate to values of Sikhi and feel that as a woman, even in a day and age where we cut our hair and we don't follow orthodoxly. And still be best friends with Orthodox Sikhs, for example, because your identity is you. But I think in our culture, we worry so much what other people think, and that's when the weight issue comes. I can't get that suit from you from India ready-made. Oh, idani banande, tere banwana pehna. And it's like, kind of, you can't get a ready-made suit. Like, it's little things. Or, sorry, love, you can't borrow my suit, ain't going to fit you. Like, it's little digs we make at each other.
I remember before my wedding, oh my gosh, even when I went for wedding shopping, I mean, I was probably one of my lighter weights since post-20, and I'm heavy-chested. So even though I was smaller in waist, I was like, nothing would fit me. And I remember crying, saying, Mum, like, this is just like soul destroying. I'm not fitting into anything made. I can't get what I want. And I literally had to have them made from scratch. And even then, they couldn't get my size right. So I remember my whole life growing up has been a battle with things like Indian suits because I just do
Yeah.
not fit the standard. I've
Size.
got X size for my waist and X size for my top. Yeah,
Yeah. And
and it's
people don't realize those messagings can be so damaging to us. So my sister's got a natural J-Lo, and I'm literally was like, oh, tiny waist. And so I'll have clients, and I'm like, yo, don't be changing your body shape because some of this stuff is just handed to you, right? You can't change certain genetic. So please don't come
yeah,
to me with an idea you're going to leave looking like, I don't know, J-Lo, if you're not look like you don't have that structure. But at the same time, it's like, because jeans wouldn't fit her, or you had to have to go bespoke shopping. It's like, oh my God, when am I ever, like, I need to now change my body shape. But I say to people, if something feels snug, your clothes don't fit you. It's not you that doesn't fit your clothes, right? You've got to
yeah,
always remove that. And I think, so our identity is then, attached to our community, the religion we're born into, our gender, if we're mothers or not mothers, because equally women that haven't had children by a certain age, there's so many expectations on them and intrusive comments. Sunny and Jessie did a live about this recently. And I think that we are constantly under assault. So we have to be really sure in ourselves as women how we're going to
yeah,
deflect those. Because even if somebody made a comment about my mum tum now, it would hurt, even though I put it all out there on Instagram. It doesn't make it any easier when I put those pictures up. There's still that part of me that's like, but it's a part of me and I can accept it, even if I don't
yeah,
love the mum tum. And I think that journey is really, really important. But so, for example, my mother-in-law was like, the boys are going to go to Punjabi school. And I was like, thank you. Can you please take them to Punjabi school? Because I'm just never going to get around to do it. So I said to Chanvi yesterday, I was like, you do such fun things with Avid. Please, will you just do video calls for my boys? Like, because Delhi Mum does some really interactive stuff and she's got that kind of skill set with the kids to teach them. I don't have
yeah.
that. So
It's fun.
I know, if I was sitting here again thinking, God, why am I not teaching them Punjabi
Yeah,
yet? I would be all the time, we're ebbing away at our self-confidence and our self-esteem. And the quickest and easiest pick-me-up is food. So then that leads to the next point where I say to people, you've got to have a good toolkit for your mental health. So self-care is not a fad. I know that we kind of see it as a bit of a fad, but you genuinely need to have other go-tos than food. So we think about going for a walk, having a cuddle, because it releases serotonin and oxytocin when you cuddle your kids, stroking a pet, which is why it made me so sad when Charlie went. So nice for the kids to learn empathy and compassion through having pets. And then, having a warm drink, talking to a friend. There's so many things we can do that don't involve eating the sweet. But I think we're so accustomed to going for that immediate hit. So that's a small, long-term change you can make really slowly to shift those mindsets.
It's actually another thing I did used to do. So when I used to, back 2 years ago, when I used to think, I'm hungry. It wasn't I'm hungry, it was I'm bored. That's what it was, right? And I would think, oh, I don't want to eat. And it's like, no, just have a cup of tea. Just have a cup of tea with no sugar. And if you're still hungry after that, fine. And the tea used to work, to be honest, because it was just, I just wanted something in my hand.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
often when we think we're hungry, we're actually thirsty. It's not food. What's that?
My mailman was there and he's looking through the window. I was like, oh, what's he doing? Yeah, we're thirsty and we're not hungry. Exactly.
Yeah. So it's just about understanding and listening to ourselves. And because we've got so many choices, because we're in a day and age where the Ocado man's just pulled up, actually. Honestly, I'm doing online food shopping like there's no tomorrow. It's ridiculous. I don't need it. Why are you ordering this stuff for what?
I have got retail issues at the moment. I think lots of women can, hands up if everyone's got a retail situation right now in COVID. It's either cravings or it's retail. Like I went to B&Q yesterday. But then it's like me, right? All or nothing approach. We talk about this with the mums. You think you've got to do everything perfectly or you've got to have the weight loss immediately. Damage, that's a really bad putty on my finger. I got it into my head today, I'm going to have a barbecue, I've got to clear the garden. It went like a psychopath, damaged my thumb, like ripped the skin off my thumb. It's so bad. Last night I woke up in the night, I was like, I have to go to hospital.
Oh no!
Because I was putting these, so obviously I love working out. I love the fact that I strength train and I love being able to do things in the garden, right? I'm a little bit if we think about female and masculine energies, right? I live a lot in the masculine energy. I can be quite like, yeah, I can do things on my own. I don't need your help. But I started picking up the paving slabs and thought, okay, it's more efficient to use the wheelbarrow. Except I didn't stack the wheelbarrow right, and it fell and slammed into my thumb. Because me, with the bee in the bonnet, was like, I need to clean these paving slabs. Even though my husband was going to do it today, I'm just like, yeah.
Just like, now. Yeah. And men are very like, yeah, I'll do it in a bit. I'll do it. But I'm not doing it right now. Sometimes I'll do it. And then, yeah, it's like, oh, gosh.
And he's sitting there, yeah.
On it about anything, and then I'm like a dog with a bone. I will just go on and on until it's done. And yeah,
and this is the thing, right? And it translates to so many things. Like now, the shopping's here. I need to eat all the shopping. I need to try everything. And or like the Netflix. So Netflix hit the nail on the head, right? They went for not big data. They went for like what we call is the opposite. They gave you series to binge watch, like. Like this is genius, right? You can stream and binge watch, so it's all or nothing. I can't stop at one episode if they've given me 6. Let's stay up until 3 a.m. knowing it's not good for us and binge watch Netflix. And then with that comes consumption of your Netflix, snacks. And so for me, I automatically assume if I sit down for Netflix, got to get the crisps.
Yeah, or where's the popcorn? Need to make sure I've got popcorn, or anything, something to eat. And I was saying this to Preetham the other day actually about the boys. I'm really big. When we were growing up, we weren't allowed to watch TV while we were eating. It was very much sit around the table and we all talk. It was really important to my dad to have that. And
by the way, I love my dad. He sounds like a phenomenal man.
He's so cool, man. I love my dad, missing him so much. But now I try to do the same. So Sergeant got into a really bad habit of having to watch Peppa Pig while eating, and it was just, I don't mind kids watching TV while they're eating, fine, whatever, but he was developing silly habits. He'd tip his plate over, and it was like a bit of a sensory overload. So I was like, this has got to stop. And actually, when I was speaking to his OT, she said, when we are watching TV and eating, we're just eating without even processing what on earth we're eating, whether we're full, are we even enjoying what we're eating, are we absorbing the textures, and And actually, it's so interesting because now, since they don't have the TV, I mean, it's still a little bit of a faff, like, sometimes I'll kick off. They're trying new foods, they're enjoying them, they're actually making conscious choices. They're kind of recognizing when they're full. I mean, Arjun tends to eat half and he's like, yeah, I'm done now, I want to watch TV.
Yeah, go.
But interestingly, Sergeant will still go to the crisp cupboard, sign crisp, and then ask Pepper. So he's got that association to snacks and his favourite show. That's like his guilty pleasure. And I'm like,
as soon as we say movie time, Mummy, I'll get the gumball, I get the popcorn, and they take on these, but popcorn they now associate with film. So I've had women that work from home 5 days a week from before quarantine, and they would talk to me about the crisp consumption that they didn't even register, and then look down and the last crisp is gone.
Yeah.
And it becomes an association. Again, it's like a habit. It's a part of your identity. When I'm sitting here, I'll have a 3 o'clock snack. If you have a 3 o'clock chocolate every day, it's a habit. You will have your 3 o'clock chocolate.
Actually, I've tried to break that up with the avocado sharp. I've actually bought kale because I thought, right, you can try and do crispy kale instead. Like, try that as your crisp hit. But I love crisps too. And sometimes only crisps will do, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's okay, but it's just how much.
And I say this to my mums all the time, like, I will, when we get to about week 5, I will obviously inform and educate you about other choices, but I never will say to you, cut the crisps out. Like, you never have to give up the things that you love. And it's exactly what you said, Harps. It's just about, if I now have an identity as an empowered woman with empowered choices, oh, your dad's so lovely. If I'm a woman that makes good choices and I'm a role model, then I am going to make choices across the week and across the month, because people focus on trying to perfect a day, but nutrition is about across the week and a month, right? So today I might on the barbecue, whatever, go wild, and then tomorrow I might just make some, modify my choices, but it comes from within me. I'm not being told that I should do that. When you're on
Yeah.
holiday, chances are you spend 2 weeks eating whatever you like. It doesn't do as much damage to people's bodies as they think, because the minute you then reestablish your habits and routines, your body's so clever, it's so smart, it will then go back to what we call homeostasis, right? It will just go back to it's where it wants to be. And that's the other thing. Every day, if we're saying, you're fat, you're not good enough for me, your body won't respond, because, and you'll see it across social media, right? Your thoughts are powerful, your thoughts are powerful. I'm a really firm believer in that. Our thoughts are so powerful. And so many of the women that I work with are amazing in their jobs. Like, they are like hitting such great achievements, right? Academically, professionally, with their kids. But there's not that belief in themselves that actually, if I want to change my body shape or change my habits in eating, I can do it. And I'm like, you have it within you. It doesn't come from me at all. You women slay. You can do anything. But we're working against years of programming. So beliefs, identity, everything takes time. And if I just start week 1, I'm like, hey, hearts, I'm going to teach you all about carbohydrates, and you need to cut this, add this, add this. You're going to be like, well, Google could have told me that, love.
Yeah.
So I have to add value to people's lives by doing something that is going to last, and not where you can click and Google it. That's what coaching is all about, which is why, I have so much love and respect for what like intuitive knowledge does, for what Rapinda does. Coaching is, it's investing in ourselves. I have wasted probably thousands when I was on my obsession to lose weight. Shakes. And I'm talking all manner of shakes, protein shakes, bars, ready meals, low carb meals, healthy alternative meals.
Yeah, you've done it all.
And I'd sit there and I think, I struggled before your event, Hubs. Like, I can't tell you how pivotal that was for me in terms of my own development. Your tea event was just a game changer. And again, it was Genevieve, like Delhi Mum, that said, let's go together. And I wouldn't, because I've always worked online on Zoom. So my coaching's always been done by video calls. So if I could avoid going to a physical public space, I would. But I went there that day, and I'd avoided working with women in our community for whatever reason, because of my own prejudices and my own projections. And it was based on my own experience of me and something about myself. But meeting the women that day, it was like my eyes was open. I was just marveled. Obviously, so many women introduced themselves, followed me as a result, and it opened up my world to some phenomenal contacts, but also friendships that I've formed since then.
Yeah.
And I embraced that. Actually, no, I want to work with women that are like me. And do you know what that is, Rav? There's brown women. Like, what's wrong with you?
That's the whole point.
Thank you again.
Yeah, that's the whole point, I think. Just that's why I do the tea and talk events. Just to know you're not alone, and actually loads of women feel like that, and we're all in it kind of together. And despite the way in which, it might even be bad experiences we've had that shape that kind of mindset that we have towards it, but it's to show, that no, there's loads of us that are in the same kind of situation. And I'm so glad you took
There's power in a community, and I say this to the clients I work with: make sure you've got a community, make sure you've got an environment that's going to support your change, because there's going to be hard days. There's going to be days when you hit, like you said, right, you've only put back on 1/3 of the weight you lost, right? So if I look at that on a scale, right, on a graph, you're still winning compared to where you were.
Yeah.
And if you didn't have that dip and didn't think, why am I obsessing over that 4 kg, and have that realization, you wouldn't be able to then step into the next phase, next chapter, next identity of change, where it may look different to you. And you may think, well, I'm going to embrace this body, but I'm going to go on a different change for my health and nutrition. And I think it's really important that when we have those dips in progress, that's actually part of progress. It's a really integral part.
Yeah. Okay, so Rav, what can women that join you, what can they expect to achieve with you?
So they can expect my kids will gate crash my calls, my husky voice. But no, honestly, I am probably quite sickeningly positive, I think, sometimes. And I'm there as your cheerleader. That's what I'm there for, my women. I am there to take you on 8 weeks, which is what I call the kind of foundations of going back to the basics and learning our trigger points. What's going on? What habits have I got? And then I give really small baby homeworks. And sometimes they're like, should I be doing more? And then they'll go through the journey, and 1 week they may not be able to practice the homework, right? And I'll be like, yeah, that's one thing. Could you imagine if I'd given you more? That sense of failure, we are not going near it. So it's really like low intensity in the sense of what you have to do between our calls, but it's once a week. We talk through wins. I basically help women identify wins in their weeks. Like, it's about shifting our mindset. And then we look at why this is happening psychologically, what are the trigger points, how we can mitigate them, but a real, I think, a process of forgiveness of ourselves, of coming away from diet culture, and a real empowerment of, yeah, actually, I'm doing this because of how I'm going to feel, not in necessarily how much I'm going to weigh. So they, I mean, even in week 1, people feel like that. And when they have any dip, any moment of hesitation or reluctance, they, drop me a message, give me a call, and I'm there. I'm basically there to remind them we're all in the same boat, and progress takes time, and it takes learning, and it's like this, it's wiggly. So, and then we cover nutrition. We look at overall well-being, our hormones, how they impact us. The key, I think, to this course is awareness, and creating awareness around some of these autopilot habits, and then knowledge and information, and then what we do next. So for everybody here, I think, like, my Go Slow challenge is like what you were saying, Harps, right? Being in that moment. When we're watching TV, we're distracting from actually a physiological fullness from what we're eating. But going slow is more about that process of digestion starts in our mouth, giving our body the best chance for anything we're eating to go to the cells and strengthen our bodies. And then also, thinking about, why we eat. It's not because it's just fuel, it's culture, it's our socializing, it's so much more. And it's not you're not lazy, you're not weak, you're not greedy. We're just human, and our brains are doing this to us. So one action. Don't set yourself up for failure. Just one small action a week. Reducing sugar.
It sounds so doable for, busy mums. And just, it sounds like it's doable. It sounds like it's manageable. And because you are a mum and you've been through it, I think that in itself gives you kind of I don't know what the right word is. You're in the right position to be helping others. So thank you so much, Rav.
Yeah, if you guys I'm constantly learning as well, by the way. Like, I always think about refreshing. Thank you, brother. I just want to say thank you to everybody that's logged in. And thank you, especially you, Hops, like sharing your platform. I really, really appreciate it.
I always say it's everyone's platform. It's not just mine, because you guys have all been on my journey with me. So thank you so much, Rav. Have a nice day. Enjoy your barbecue.
Yeah, I'll be posting about my garden and I'll show you my broken thumb at some point.
Yeah. I hope it's all right. It's painful.
Thanks,
I'm going to go down.
Go and enjoy your shop. Get in the garden and enjoy those ice lollies. Guilt-free.
I have been doing housework. I have been doing exercise in the form of housework.
And it all counts. And by the way, gardening, there's things we're doing all the time while we're moving, and it all counts. That's why I call it movement and not exercise. Oh, thank you, everybody. Oh my God, I love everyone that's been on. Thanks, Harp. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.
Bye.